Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another discussion video. Today, more stuff from Evolution Booster. We're going to be talking about the Heroine archetype coming out in Evo Booster. But in a weird way, the Heroine archetype's been in the game all along. We'll talk about how that works in the video. Guys, if you're new here, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. If you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways down in the description to do so. Particularly today, if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, use my link down below to TCG Player. It does help out a great deal. That being said, let's get started. We'll be starting with the flashiest card that has to do with the Heroine archetype, although really doesn't need to be played in the Heroine archetype, just has an additional okay-ish effect if you're playing the Heroine archetype. But anyways, the secret rare from the set, Heroine's Lineage. We have a 1-drop extra card ultimate. Keep in mind, this is not a field card. Yes, the other two sideways cards we've gotten so far are field cards. This one is not a field card. So let's go first with the activate battle. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 7 or less and gain control of it. This is activated from hand. The activate main is activated from drop, so we'll keep that one, for second. This is the effect that's usable in any deck in the game, and honestly, it's quite good. Now, a lot of people are going to draw comparisons between this and the Supreme Kai of Time Space-Time Unraveler. I'm going to go ahead and say Supreme Kai of Time is the better card in at least 95% of situations, and here's what I mean by that. Supreme Kai of Time, you play it during your opponent's turn, you're at least stopping 1 attack, if not 2, right? So if they attack with a battle card, you play it with the activate battle, you stop their leader from attacking and a unison if they have one. But then if they attack with leader, you're preventing a unison. If they attack unison, you're preventing leader. You get the idea. The other effect, always a board wipe. Doesn't hit barrier, but that's fine. Neither does this card. So always being a board wipe is really good. This card, how good this card is changes depending on what deck you're up against, right? So let's say your opponent is playing a non-battle card reliant strategy, or they only play really low cost battle cards that don't have a lot of impact. This card is going to see a lot less value, but I can see some matchups where this card has insane value. It's really all just going to depend on what your opponent's playing strategy wise. Like for example, against King Piccolo, this could be kind of cool. You can take their Piccolo Jr. King Scion, right? That's probably going to be the beefiest card on their board. Or you could possibly even take their 6-drop King Piccolo, the dual attack double striker. That's a really cool interaction. But a deck like maybe Reboot Gohan, like if you ever even get the chance to play this, which to be fair, you wouldn't really also get the chance to play Supreme Kai of Time. But if you get the chance to use this on 3 energy, what can you take? A 1-drop double striker? This could maybe be cool against like Red Broly if you survive their 6-drop, which again is probably pretty unlikely. But if you do survive their 6-drop, you can take it and then you can swing at them with it. That's kind of cool. Again, you see the point I'm making here is the value of this card changes with each matchup depending on what you're able to take. Let's read the activate main. For 5 energy, remove this card from the drop area from the game. Choose any number of Heroine cards in your hand with energy costs of 5 or less and different card names whose energy costs add up to a total of 10 or less and play them. Then choose up to one of those cards and gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. That's just really funny to me because you had this entire buildup of like play 5 battle cards or whatever it is, and then you just give one of them plus 5k. That was such an anticlimactic ending. But anyways, that's cool, I guess. If you're playing this in the Bulma leader, which we will see in just a second, you have the ability to spam your hands to the field. That just seems kind of meh to me, to be honest. But the activate battle, though, that's going to be the main appeal to this card. It does make this card playable in any deck that you are playing at all, which is pretty cool. Again, just compared to Space Time Kai, I think this is going to be the lesser SCR. Now we have Bulma and Bulma Life of a Heroine. Let's read the leader that's going to make this whole thing work. Permanent on both sides. All Pan, Bulma, Chi-Chi, Videl, My Future, and Android 18 battle cards in all of your areas gain Heroine and are treated as if they had no specified cost. So this leader causes you to go back into the card pool and look at all those different cards. Look at all the old Mai's, all the old Android 18s, look at all the old Chi-Chis, and you see if there's anything there that works well with this strategy or this leader. I already did that for you, and I'll leave some thoughts about the cards I found as we go into the video. So permanent on the unawakened side, you can't play non-Heroine battle cards, and play is different than include in your deck, right? So you can, for instance, play like Double Strike Champa or Double Strike Kai. You just can't physically play those to the field, but you can include them in your deck and combo with them. So auto once per turn, when you play a card, draw 1, then this card and the card you play gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. One thing I just thought about as I was reading that, I'm pretty surprised they didn't make Spring Kai of Time a heroine. I thought that would actually be a card that would fit really well in this deck, both the SCR and like the 1-drop from the Vegex deck, but they didn't choose to do that for whatever reason. So auto, when you play a card, draw 1, then this card and the card you play get plus 5,000 power for the turn. Neat, I guess. Awaken, when it lays to 5 or less, draw 1 card, then switch it to 1 of your energy to active mode. And then the Awaken side, same permanence. Auto, when you play a card, draw 1, and then this card and the card you play gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. And then activate battle once per turn, choose 1 of your battle cards, and it gets plus 5,000 power for the battle. Okay, so those autos, keep in mind that they will trigger on your opponent's turn. So that is actually a pretty cool way you can generate a lot of value in this deck by, like, you know, negating if there are different heroines that have, you know, battle card negates. That could work out, and there are a few we'll talk about in the video. So that's neat. It's almost like a pan type of effect. It's almost like a new age pan where you're playing like a rainbow color deck and you can actually draw cards during both players' turns when you play battle cards. Doing it on your turn, it's fine, I guess. I mean, the turn you play Unison, you'll be missing out on a draw, which is just a little bit weird, but we'll read more about that as we go on. Bulma, Inspiring Support. We have a 1-drop super combo for the strategy. When this card's played, draw 1, and then auto if your leader card's a World Tournament or Heroine card. When this card is using a combo, it gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. If it's your opponent's turn, this card gets an additional 2,000 combo power for the battle for each color in your energy. Okay, so kind of just incentivizing you to play that rainbow strategy. The more colors you have in your energy, the bigger of a combo this can be. We'll have to see how that works. It seems like this stuff leans pretty heavily into green though, which is a little bit awkward, but we'll see more of that as we read. So we have 2 unisons for the strategy. Firstly, we'll go with Launch the Wild One. She comes out in the actual set. Activate main for 2. If your leader's a heroine card, play this card from main with 2 markers on it. So that basically cheats around the fact that she is a 2 specified green, so you don't actually have to charge green in order to play this card. Activate main +1, look at top 5 of your deck, add either a World Tournament or Heroine card among them to your hand, and then -1, choose any number of opponent's battle cards whose total energy costs add up to 3 or less and KO them. That -1 might have been great back in like set 2 where you want to play like a ton of 1-drop energy boosted Majin Boos, but nowadays, maybe it's going to be okay. I don't know. Let's see what the pan does though. We have a 1-drop unison with 6k power. Auto at the end of a turn where your leader card activated a blocker skill. Add a marker to this card, then add up to 1 green skillless battle card from your drop barrier to your hand. Okay, so right then and there, a lot of things. When your leader activates a blocker skill, that's very, very new. And then you add a green skillless card from drop to your hand. So this wants you to play some skillless strategies. Let's see what the activate main +1 does. At the end of the turn, switch up to 1 of your leader cards that's either mono green or has heroine to active mode, and it gets blocker until the start of your next turn. Wow, okay, giving the leader blocker, that is a really, really interesting concept. So keep in mind this works with both Bulma and a mono green leader, so there are going to be some leaders to look at this for sure. Giving your leader blocker though is such a crazy thing. I can't even imagine. That actually seems kind of not great because your leader is really small unless you play a battle card in that same turn. Maybe there's a combo to make that work out better. We'll have to keep looking and see. But activate main -2 until the end of their opponent's next turn. They can only attack 1 time with battle cards with energy costs of 4 or less. So kind of like a pseudo Nimbus, but it doesn't really stop big things. So you're almost getting like maybe a Hachiyak type of effect for the -2. I do like the fact that it's a 1 energy unison that can gain 2 markers per turn. Again, the text on this thing just has me thrown for a loop, like giving your leader blocker. Really cool concept. We'll see how it works out in practice. Now, we talked about these cards in the video before. I'm a really, really big fan of these cards. We have Kakunsa, Rebrian, and Rosie. So basically, Rebrian searches out the archetype, right? Searches out the Kakunsas, searches out the Rosies. She also searches out any of your other heroine cards. So this is probably a one drop you're going to want to play 4 copies of. Kakunsa, I like it a lot. It's like Yellow's version of Basil Fatal Rampage. It gains double strike if your opponent meets a certain requirement. That's cool. Rosie Blast Manipulator, probably another card you're going to want to play a lot of copies of because it's such a good, strong effect. You play it, your opponent pitches 2, it gains triple attack. The one thing I don't like about this card is that it can't be played off of Rebrian Pretty Cannon's effect because her effect only procs if she's played from hand, whereas Rebrian Pretty Cannon can play her from the deck. That won't really work out too well, but I guess you can play other battle cards with her skill. But I really think Kakunsa and Rosie are the only great targets for that. So I think a little bit of a missed opportunity there. This could have been a strategy that really bolstered the deck really highly. Pulling Rosie right out of the drop area, or right out of the deck rather, excuse me, for 1 energy could have been really good, but not going to work out, unfortunately. Then we have some more heroine cards we haven't really talked about yet. We have Launch, Inspiring, Support. We have a 2-drop blocker, auto for 1 if your leader's a Red Earthling, or a heroine card at the end of his battle where this card was used in a combo. Play this card from your drop area. This is very, very usable in both Launch and Bulma. In Launch, you'll get the combo draw and then play. In Bulma, you combo, play, and then get the draw off your leader. So that's pretty cool synergy there. I do like this as a 1 energy blocker that generates a draw in both decks. I think that's pretty cool. Then we have Pan the Courageous Youth. We have a 5-drop, 19k, pretty weak for a 5-drop to be honest. Deflect. When this card's played using swap, choose up to 1 Goku's Lineage card from your deck and up to 1 Goku's Lineage card from your hand, each with different card names, energy cost 5 or less. Play them with keyword skills negated for the turn, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. I just got done reading that and then realized, wow, you can't play any of these cards in this deck. You can't use this skill in this deck because you can't play non-heroine cards. So that was just a whole waste of time. Auto for 1. When this card's using a combo from your hand with a heroine card in your leader area or battle area, that card gets plus 5,000 power and double strike for the battle. So I did mention in the beginning of the video, you can play Champa, you can play Kai, you just can't actually physically play them to the board. This is a in archetype Champa that you don't need to initially spend 1 energy on. Like, you can combo this thing for 5k and then decide later on, do I want to, use this as a Champa or use it as a 5k? That's neat, I guess. Like, man, this for an SR that only half of its effect works in this heroine strategy, I'm not in love with this. I don't think this is that great at all. I mean, you'll play this over Champa just because it's searchable and whatnot, but wow, really weak card. I still haven't even decided if I want to talk about the swap support that came out in this set. I honestly think it's really, really weak, but I might do its own video, so we'll see if I decide to do that. Then we have Gin Rogue support, Android 18, Let the Battle Begin. You guys already know how I feel about Android 18 if you watch my 21 video. I think this card is absolutely insane. Doesn't care if you have a blue unison, so it will work on this deck. 1 energy counterplay, bottom deck anything 4 or less your opponent plays. I think this card is absolutely incredible. Gin Heroic support, yet again, another SR where only half of the effect works with the heroine strategy. Let's give it a quick read. Auto sparking 5 if your leader's a blue Bardock's crew or heroine card. Now Bardock's crew gets the sparking easily, the heroine leader does not. That's a big problem already. When this card is used in a combo from your hand, you may add 1 blue Bardock's crew or 1 heroine card from your energy to your hand, and then if you do, add 1 mono blue or heroine card other than copies of this card from your drop to your energy in rest mode. So same thing as a Bardock's crew support. You can charge something early, pick it up later. I really don't think you'll play this card in the deck at all unless you want access to Senzu Bean. Between this and Android 18 and Senzu Bean, you could have a cool little 12-card blue package. But again, I don't think this card's really that great at all for the purpose it serves in the strategy. Now here we go. I've looked up some of the other cards you can play in the strategy that will give you the heroine trait, right? So we got Awakening Talent Pan. Again, if you want to play a blue engine, this is a card to do it. This does give you some Self-Awaken. It also gives you a 1-drop battle card that is playable each turn to proc your leader draw that could be of some value. Then we have Heroic Duo Videl. Like I said before, you play a battle card in your opponent's turn, you draw, you negate, you draw. Definitely not a bad concept. I think this card could be main deckable in the build just for that purpose. Then we have Bulma Life on Namek. When this card's played, look at top 5 of your deck, add up to 1 green unison, specified cost of 2, so it does search launch, or 1 green sand card with energy cost of 3 or less among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Now you have to go back and look at like any pan cards that are green. I really don't think there are any except for one that, and the thing with some of these cards too is, the thing with some of the Videls, some of the Pans, and even some of the Bulmas, they're very, very specific to the strategies they were printed for. They don't really do much for the strategy at all, which makes this very, 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 very awkward. Then you've got Bulma Yielding Courage. She's a 1-drop you can play that draws a card, and your leader will proc to draw another card. But then the thing with this, like this card you can play in the deck, you can't use its activate main, and then you have like Vegeta Prideful Hero, which would be a cool combo you could pull off in this strategy, but you can't play non-heroine cards to the field. So that doesn't even work. You can see what I'm getting at, where this archetype is just so awkward and so weird. It reminds me so much of King Vegeta, the stuff I talked about earlier this week. The archetype they've constructed in this Evo booster set just doesn't really make sense with a lot of the stuff that we already have in the game. Again, keep in mind, this could very much be a foundation for more heroine cards to come out in the future, and any, Pan, Bulma, Mai, all those guys they print going forward will pretty much automatically have the heroine tag on them. So that is something to keep an eye on, but just it doesn't really seem like too much actually works with this strategy, at least at first glance. Then we have Chi-Chi Melee Matriarch and Android 18 Never Ending Energy. These are 2 admittedly good cards you can play with the strategy. Android 18, simple draw 2, proc your leader to draw 1, and then Chi-Chi, you actually can play the Silver Bullet that came out in Dropbox 6 if you really want to stick it to blue. There is also the Red Mai, so whether you want, red or yellow energy, take your pick. But guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I'm getting really serious King Vegeta vibes. This just seems like a very, very scatterbrained archetype. I don't quite get it. Again, could be a foundation for something in the future. That's all well and good. I'm going to definitely keep an eye on it. I'm going to try to build something with this. I don't think it's going to work all that well because honestly, I just don't see it yet. But I'll dedicate more time to it after PPG Miami this weekend. If you're going, come say what's up. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.